I don't know what to say. It's the Khan market gang should jump off a cliff now. It's the only option they have. They have nowhere to look. I feel so sorry for them. It's the end of an era for them, end of their careers, end of their their bootlicking approach. They're finished. So I got Lokesh, I got Fuad Halim, I got Sanjeev Srivastav, fantastic voices on the anti side, and we got Brahma Chelani, geostrategic expert. We got Saurabh Shukla, asked a great question and got a great answer. Abhijit Chawda and Abhijit Iyer Mitra. I want to start with you, Abhijit Iyer Mitra. What should the ecosystem do? Can I get a short reply from you? What should the ecosystem do now? What are their options?
Stress eat, Arnab. I think stress eating always helps. A bucket of ice cream at night might cool them down a bit. But I don't know. Just put on weight and get cholesterol and die, I guess. Short answer.
Okay, Abhijit throws it open out there. Let's get a view from the other side. Lokesh, there's nothing. There's not a drop for you to pick out of the whole event which you can be cynical about. Fuad Halim, what about you? You always manage to find something to criticize, but I guess this time, this is just wonderfully placed, the relationship with the US.
No, Arnab, I am pleasantly surprised every time I speak on your show that after receiving this tight slap from Donald Trump, where in your previous shows you were saying that the deep state of America was very, very, deeply involved in what's happening in Bangladesh, and Donald Trump comes and gives you the tightest slap, and you're also gung-ho and happy about it today, that the deep state is not playing any role in Bangladesh. This oscillation from one side to the other side, it absolutely entertains me.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's oscillated from one side to the other side, from the Americans interfering to the Americans saying that is your backyard, you deal with it. It's obviously oscillated.
They're rattled, Arnab.
So I don't know what you're agreeing with me. So what are you pretending to disagree about?
One of the things, let me finish off. No, I'm not pretending. I'm saying, look at your precarious condition, and you're actually happy about it, that you've received the tightest slap in terms of what you've been taking a stand on in your channel, and you have to take a what you call 180-degree somersault, and you want to be gung-ho about it. Now, coming to what Donald Trump exactly said in his entire speech, there's one statement that's very, very important. Now, I quote Donald Trump. Prime Minister Modi recently announced the reduction of Indian unfair, very strong tariffs that limit US access into the Indian market very strongly. Now, he is actually taken Narendra Modi into that closed room. He has wrung Narendra Modi's ears, got Narendra Modi to rub his nose on the ground, and the trade deficit that we have with America at the moment, he comes out and says in the press conference very, very categorically that India has very, very strong tariffs and America can't enter the market, and Narendra Modi is going to do something about it. Now, that's the takeaway message that we need to understand what's going to happen to Indo-US trade relations in terms of our trade deficit and what we are going to do about it. There are very strong decisions that are going to come on that front. Now, coming to the foreign affair, I know you want to run away from this, Arnab.
Okay, Fuad, I want to respond. I want others to respond to you. I want others to respond to you.
I'll just finish.
I want others to respond to you.
In 30 seconds.
No, you're not going to finish.
Now, just at 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds. Now, on this question of Bangladesh, America tells India that you take care of your backyard. It's like a zamindar telling his lathel, the lathiwala, that tum abhi ja karke isko samal lo. That's the attitude that America is projecting on the international stage. That's a very unfortunate way of actually practicing diplomacy and statecraft. He is actually saying that Narendra Modi, tum mera lathel hai, tum jaakar ke wahan samal lo. That's not the way things are done, and India should not fall into that trap.
Now, Fuad, you said you'll complete. I need the others to come in.
He is the Prime Minister of my country,
and you need to close at this point. So this is bad. The bad now. Fuad, I came into you second. You're not stopping. And you seem a little worked up tonight. you're not sounding okay. Now listen to me. The point is this.
I'm pleasantly
I completely understand.
Wrapped your knuckles.
I completely understand.
Yeah. Thank you.
I completely understand that as a China supporter, you have to support China even on this program. But you shouldn't make it so obvious. Now, what you shouldn't make it so obvious. The point is, all you people, and who do I mean by you people? I mean Le Monde, I mean Chinese Communist Party, I mean Guardian, I mean all the communist parties in other parts of the world. I mean the pro-Maoist groups. All of you people had rallied to defame Modi before the Indian elections and saying that we need to control Modi. Now the fact is, you have had two nightmares. Modi's back getting stronger. Trump's comeback got stronger, and you're not getting money from USAID. He's entirely dismantled. And I want to come to Abhijit Chavda on this. The entire USAID deep state machinery is gone. And it's a complete decision. The money is not coming. The NGOs are not going to get any money. The ecosystem is gone. They're without a job. Most of these people are now more active on LinkedIn because they don't have a job. There is no external funding that's coming in. So there's panic, viewers. If you're watching tonight, what are you seeing? You're seeing panic. Fuad equals panic tonight. And so does Lokesh. I don't know about Sanjeev. Influence peddling is over. Now, what's the ecosystem going to do in the given situation? They're out of work. I'd like Abhijit to come in. Abhijit Chavda and then Lokesh. Lokesh, after Abhijit. You guys can have a go at each other, but after Abhijit. Yeah, Abhijit Chavda. I'm going one, moving fast.
Yeah, it's been a very positive summit. Lots of positives, no negatives at all. First of all, when it comes to the trade and tariffs that was mentioned just now, the two nations have agreed to address the trade imbalances, and they have resolved to double the bilateral trade, more than double it, to about $500 billion by 2030. That's a huge win. That's a huge positive thing. There's the talk of oil and gas procurement, defense cooperation. There's a new 10-year framework for the major defense partnership. There is the extradition of Tahavur Rana. There's the resolve to deepen security cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region. There are so many positives. I have no understanding of what negatives have come out of this thing. When it comes to the way the US deals with India, compare it to the way the US deals with the EU. Just yesterday, the US Vice President was lecturing Germany and scolding them essentially on a big platform for deindustrializing their nation. So that see the difference between the way the US deals with India versus the EU, which is such a big grouping of nations. So it's been a very positive thing. And when it comes to the deep state, the US is dismantling USAID. It has already happened. And the very short cryptic remark that Mr. Trump made about Bangladesh should definitely send shivers down the spine of the various agents the previous establishment had in Bangladesh and also within India. So it's all about leverage. And if you look at the world from a leverage perspective, you will see that Trump is justified.
No, they're saying okay, the argument made there was Fuad's argument was, and I want Lokesh to come in, Abhijit, on this. Do we need Americans to say that you deal with Bangladesh as you want? That was his point. Lokesh, and then Brahma Chelani. Lokesh.
Before I begin with, I take a strong objection to Mr. Fawad's statement that the Prime Minister was rubbing the nose and use of hard terms like Raquel and all. No, that doesn't suit the kind of debate.
Yeah, I think very inappropriate language. I think, I completely agree with you.
The Prime Minister occupies a chair of respect, and we have utmost respect for it. Yes, we will question because that's what we are supposed to do. So over here, when you're talking about the bilateral trade reaching $500 billion, I want to know what is the pattern of trade. Is that trade going to be more and more imports for India? Are we going to allow more than 1600cc bikes, Harley Davidson, without much of import duties coming in India, harming our domestic industries? Or is it going to be more of external trade from India? Are we going to have more of services sector opened up for the US economy? Are we going to have more visas allowed in, more of people-to-people exchange taking place? It's very important for us to know that how this $500 billion trade is going to shape our economy and what will be its impact on the domestic economy. With respect to the bilateral relations between US and India, we have always maintained neutrality. We have avoided polarizing ourselves either to Russia or US, and we have stood for Vasudev Kutumbakam. And we know the Prime Minister is putting this policy in the global perspective today. But it's
No,
more
Lokesh, let's look at
important-
the Bangladesh question. 1 minute, 1 minute. Let me get in. I'm sorry to intervene there because I want to be very focused on the Bangladesh questions, and I want to get in Brahma Chelani on this because there's been a focus on this. And, you know, one of the biggest takeaways, Dr. Chelani, of this bilateral is the statement that America will not effectively meddle in India's backyard. Did he mean that? On the Bangladesh question, I felt, Dr. Chelani, that it was a very solid and unmistaken statement, making it absolutely clear that Bangladesh is not our concern. We don't want to meddle in Bangladesh. We don't want to meddle in the region. We know India has interests, and we will leave it for India to handle. But the Bangladeshis are also talking to China. What then happens? The Bangladeshis are talking to China, actively engaging with China. They know the fun and games period with Americans is over after Trump came in. How do you view the statement in the context of China, the Bangladesh question in the context of China? How do you view the statement that he's made against Pakistan in the context of China? Will this push us effectively, very strongly, into the anti-China camp, the American camp? What do you think, Dr. Chelani?
Arnab, the reason why the US-India relationship came under strain during Joe Biden's presidency is that the divergence of US and Indian interests in India's own immediate neighborhood became stark. The US under Biden welcomed the regime change in Bangladesh. It propped up this military-backed regime in Dhaka. In Pakistan, it backed the military-backed regime, and in fact, it provided $450 million for the modernization of Pakistan's F-16 fleet, which, as we all know, is directed against India. And in Myanmar, on the other side, it sought to overthrow the military regime in Myanmar, including by providing quote-unquote non-lethal military aid, which in American terminology, non-lethal really actually means providing lethal weaponry. Some of these weapons, including drones, have entered Manipur state, destabilizing that state. You know, even armed militants from Myanmar have entered Manipur state. So in that, against that background, one was hoping that the US under Trump would now work with India, rather than the US working against India's interests in India's immediate neighborhood, that the US would work with India, because India and the US cannot be partners in the world or partners in creating a stable balance of power in Asia if the US is working against India's vital interests in India's immediate neighborhood. So I was looking forward to something concrete coming out from this meeting between Modi and Trump. And I think overall, in terms of broader issues, this was a very positive meeting, because the purpose of Modi's visit was to restore the momentum in this relationship, a momentum that had actually stalled during Biden's presidency. On Bangladesh, on Pakistan, it was interesting that in the joint statement there was a mention of Pakistan by name. But on Bangladesh, we should be disappointed because for two reasons. One, that there was no mention of Bangladesh in the joint statement, and Trump seeking to avoid speaking on Bangladesh. He did not want to criticize the military-backed interim regime in Dhaka. So he dodged that question. He said, yeah, I'm leaving it to the Prime Minister to answer.
No, he's left that issue to India to handle. He's not. I feel he's made it very clear. No, I think he's left it to us. He's left it entirely to us. So I mean, he said basically, this is your backyard, you deal with it.
My reading of what he said is a bit different. First, he flatly denied any U.S. deep state involvement in the Bangladesh regime change. It's interesting to note that at home,
Obviously, he's not going to make that admission.
No, at home, he rails against the U.S. deep state, but in terms of U.S. deep state operations overseas, I've never ever heard Trump, even in his first term, say anything about, saying anything critical about the U.S. deep state's operations overseas, including in Ukraine, where the so-called Maidan revolution of 2014 led to the Russian occupation of Crimea. And on China.
Okay, let's get counters to that. Let's get counters to that. Who's coming in with a counter there? My question to you actually was on China. My question to you was more on China.
Let me respond to the China thing. It is in the joint news conference, as you may have heard, his references to China were quite soft, quite conciliatory. He says he wants to have good relationship with China. He mentioned twice that he has a very good personal equation with Xi Jinping. He did not sound as if he wanted to take on China, because this is, he was trying to be very diplomatic. But we know from his first term that it is he who fundamentally changed America's China policy. For 45 years, from Richard Nixon to Barack Obama, American policy was to aid China's economic rise. Trump, in his first term, changed that policy on its head and identified China as a strategic rival and threat.
Sir, may I, sir? Yeah. So may I just come in with 2 points to counter your points on China? You obviously know you're a China expert. I know your expertise on it. I just make two commonsensical remarks. I get Sanjeev in, and then I can take this forward. Firstly, I think he made a stern remark on China without naming China. He said, I look at India, I see the skirmishes on the border, which are quite vicious. I guess they continue to go on. If I could be of help, I'd love to help, because they should be stopped. That's been going on for a long time. It's quite violent. We have rejected his mediation. Secondly, IMEC. Trump and Modi reiterated their persistent efforts on India-Middle East economic corridor to life. This is a complete counter to BRI. The third point is, sir, that he proposes F-35s to India. That counters strongly China's fifth-generation aircraft. It's J-35, right? And the fourth point is, sir, we are not affected by tariffs because of the FTA. China surely will be. So I think he's separating the two issues. He's being quite tough on China without naming China. So this shows how smart he is. He's taking them on without naming them. Sanjeev, your take overall, and on the China issue, any other points? Sanjeev.
Yeah. So Arnab, your stand which you are taking, and what Abhijit Iyer also said in the beginning, I really hope and want that should be the true picture. But I don't think so. And I would be quite near to the point or the view being taken by Professor Chalani. See, on China, if before the joint press conference with Prime Minister Modi, President Trump also had a engagement with the press, which was about 35-40 minutes, in which he talked about the larger global world order. And he was very reconciliatory towards Russia and China. And he said, we'll work towards denuclearization. And so, after the initial sound bites and the bravado or whatever posturing he did, since a couple of days after swearing in, he has been quite reasonable vis-a-vis China. So, because China in turn can hurt him. At the same time, I'm sure he wants good relations with Delhi. Delhi will be its strategic ally. There is Quad, there is the China containment. But on the other hand, he wants to also play along with China. So things will evolve and will come. We should not jump to any conclusion. Let's wait for a few weeks or maybe few months as to what happens. But on Bangladesh, again, I agree with Professor Brahmachalani. See, Arnab, we should not be equating ourselves now with Pakistan. But we are much ahead, much stronger, much bigger. Everything. Pakistan is no comparison. So a mention of Pakistan should not make us feel very happy. But on Bangladesh, I think if US actually aided a regime change there, now I thought what President Trump said in that press conference, that I leave it to the Prime Minister, is more like abdicating all the US responsibility rather than giving a free hand to India. And what does a free hand to India really mean? What can India really
what
do in its
responsibility
backyard?
would you
Can
want?
we affect another regime change?
What responsibility would you want US to have in Bangladesh?
I would have preferred.
I was there. Can I come in?
I would have preferred that what the damage which they have done, they should help undo it also. The damage which the US deep state did in Dhaka, they should help undo it also, rather than now running away and just leaving it to India. What can perhaps India do in its neighborhood? We are not those kind of active interventionists.
Okay, we're getting counters.
And the tariff reciprocal
We're getting
tariff
counters to
thing
both these
will only
statements here.
work
Right now,
out.
okay, Abhijit's coming in because he had a very brief opening remark. Then I'll go back to the other Abhijit and to Saurabh as well. This is getting very contentious, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it would be one-sided. 9:30. There's a serious fight on tonight. Yes, Abhijit's country. I'm sorry, Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Yeah.
You know, Arnab, the thing is, if you ask any official, including Indira Gandhi at the time of the Bangladesh war, they will never tell you we started supporting the Mukti Bahini a whole year.
Can you unmute yourself?
I'm not muted.
Are you muted?
I'm not.
I can't hear. Can you hear? Producers, can you hear? I can't hear Abhijit, or is it just me? Producers, can you hear Abhijit Iyer Mitra? Producers, can you hear Abhijit Iyer Mitra? I'm not getting an audio here. Can you confirm to me, PCR? Can you hear Abhijit Iyer Mitra? I need to be told by my director whether you can be heard, because I'm not hearing you. Is it just me? Producers, talk to me. Producers, are you there? Or have I lost audio completely?
Can you hear me now, Arnab?
Okay, you continue. Obviously, I have a problem at my end. Please continue, but I can't hear you, so I need audio in.
Okay, can the others hear me? Not if you can.
Please continue.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Go on.
we can go on.
So the point here is very simple.
Okay, I'll get patched in, but you continue, please. Yeah.
The point here is very simple. You're expecting absolute obeisance from the other side. You know, they have to fix the problem. They need to do a mea culpa and die as Jesus Christ on the cross in order for India to have scored a diplomatic victory. If you ever asked Indira Gandhi who liberated till today, the official history says India just provided the coup de grace to the Mukti Bahini to liberate itself. We never admit we started supporting the insurgency in Bangladesh a full 1 year before the war was declared. Even 2 months before the official war was declared, when our airfields were bombed in Western Pakistan, we were deep inside Bangladesh. Will we ever admit it in public? Never. What is being asked for out here is for the American president, that for India to have done well, the American president needs to essentially commit treason, give up his country's intelligence operations in Bangladesh, and only then India could have won. I've never heard a more naive take on foreign policy than this. I'm sorry, this is the hardest any president has been on China. This is the hardest any president has ever been on Bangladesh or Pakistan. This is the first time, you can make fun calling India the deputy sheriff. I think the CPIM gentleman did. Remember the last time we wanted to deal with Bangladesh, the Communist Party on one side was threatening us with invasion, and the Americans sent the fleet against us. This time the Americans are saying, please do what you want. And the Communist Party to our north does nothing. They are scared. So the situation is improved very well. And I neither agree with Professor Chelani, nor do I agree with the CPIM gentleman, nor do I agree with Sanjay ji on this. They have now shifted the goalposts that short
Professor
of
Chelani
Donald Trump
and
basically
Professor Chelani
genuflecting and doing Sadar Pranam, Shashtang Namaskar to Modi, everything is a great big insult to Modi and to India. I mean, naivety ka bhi had hota hai, yaar.
Okay, we're getting Fuad on this, please. It's getting very sharp, as you saw there. It's getting sharp. And frankly, if you ask me, I want to bring in Saurabh. I want to bring in Abhijit. So can I just say here that I find it remarkable that anyone can say
Arnab,
that
it's absolutely blunt, because you got somebody in your program saying that India's trade is going to double by 2030 to $500 billion. The trade with America at the moment is a little less than $130 billion, and that's projected to quadruple, which I don't think so is going to happen by 2030. So there's a serious problem with facts of year. The second, the previous speaker just said that the 7th Fleet came into the Bay of Bengal. America sent its 7th Fleet, and it was the Soviet Union and the Chinese Communist Party which said that if the 7th Fleet intervenes on behalf of anybody in the conflict that's going on, then we are going to intervene, which actually caused the 7th Fleet to back off, and USA turned tail and ran away, and which is why Bangladesh could be liberated. So there seems to be a serious...
So why should we be stuck in a 50-year-old record?
Please.
This is 2025.
Read your history.
Abhijit.
I'm not here to take history lessons for you. If you want to what you call orchestrate your history, please do it. But I'm not here to teach you history. Please, I disagree with you. You have no sense of history. Please do not shout. Please do. You go into the 7th Fleet history as to why
always support China. We remember all those posters in Kolkata. China's leader is our leader.
Of facts on your side.
You're a Chinese spy, yaar. Everybody knows you're a Chinese spy.
So that's very, very, very normal. But
it's
anyway,
very Chinese spy. It's normal for a Chinese spy to behave like a Chinese spy.
That's your opinion.
Why do we expect anything from communists?
Opinions at the moment. Now the concrete facts of the matter.
Chinese spy. Yes. Please tell us what Xi Jinping has told you to say. Of course, you don't deal at the Xi Jinping level. It will be some low-level functionary, maybe the clerk at the Chinese embassy that's giving you
energy from the USA.
But I expect nothing better. Just notice how he whitewashed the entire Chinese episode.
2 versus 2. This is getting both amusing and hot. 2 versus 2. Visuals in the middle. Oh God.
I want to know which chef or clerk is handling Mr. Fuad.
You're angry today because no, he's angry. He's angry. Fuad is angry. Fuad is very angry.
From the USA.
Fuad is very angry.
Fuad is incontinence. I won't call him.
He's angry because Trump admitted. No, he's angry, I'll tell you. He's angry. He's angry because Trump admitted. Trump admitted. Someone hear me. Trump admitted something very big today.
Which
I'll tell you what Trump admitted. Trump admitted. He said bad things happen in 2020 and 2024. He said the American deep state tried to interfere in the Indian elections. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about that Abhijit Chawda. They don't want to talk about that Saurabh Shukla. He admitted that USAID and the American deep state tried to get Modi out of power.
Because
he made that big admission. Nobody wants to talk about the dinosaur in the room.
Arnab,
the elephant in the room, the mammoth in the room. That the American deep state, USAID, tried to stop Modi from getting elected again. Didn't he say that, Abhijit Chawda? They don't want to talk about that. He did not deny interference in the Indian elections. But when we told you at that point of time, you didn't listen, Abhijit Chawda. On the left, Abhijit Chawda. The deep state interfered in the Indian elections. They don't want to talk about that.
There was definitely election interference, and one of the reasons why Trump has gone all out against the deep state is because of the 2020 election, which was clearly stolen from him, and other things as well. Now, let's just quickly focus back on Bangladesh. And has the US really dropped attempts to enter in Bangladesh and interfere in the matter? So let's understand this briefly from the perspective of leverage dynamics. Trump is concerned about Russia and China. The big is not in that league currently. And Trump is going to focus most of his energy on engaging with Russia and China. Now, having India and Europe on his side and under some kind of control gives him leverage over Russia and China, especially India, because the EU is not a sovereign entity. So for leverage against India, Trump has reciprocal tariffs. He has Pakistan, he has East Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, certain political parties allegedly within India. There are many aspiring Zelenskys in India. There are Christian missionary organizations. There are NGOs, activists. All of these things he has to put to apply leverage.
Yeah, aspiring Zelenskys. Well said.
Walk out of Bangladesh. So I don't think he's going to give up his leverage to Bangladesh. The control that the deep state has on Bangladesh, they're going to retain that for possible future use. So one can expect definitely that relations will get much better.
So I want to get Sanjeev in on this. Sanjeev, I think the provocative comment which you made there was where you said that you're not happy I'm surprised such a senior journalist with you, like you, is actually unhappy about what was said about Bangladesh, because I think it's music to my ears. I want the Americans out of there. Then we'll handle that interest, that area ourselves. Also, it's very important for us geostrategically because it's such a long border. So many states. It's so strategically important. Why would we want the Americans to be strong? But you come on television and you say you want the Americans to be in Bangladesh. No, Sanjeev, you've got to explain that. I mean, I think Sanjeev said something really wrong there, didn't he?
Sanjeev,
he said, I want the Americans to stay.
I just want one quick comment before he comes in, Arnab.
Yeah, let Saurabh give it to Sanjeev, then Sanjeev will hit back. Yeah.
Can I,
Sanjeev, just give me 1 minute. Sanjeev, a minute. The reason why we should be concerned today is that where Bangladesh is headed, Pakistan is getting in, anti-India forces are getting in. This is the time. What Donald Trump, and I was there in the Oval Office when he said that. Just to put in perspective, what he's trying to tell us is that South Asia is your sphere of influence. I understand. I ally with you. You guys handle it. He also talked about radical Islamic terrorism. Don't forget that. Bangladesh earlier was the hotbed of radical Islamic terrorism. So when he speaks about that, he's sending us a message that you guys handle it. I am backing you. And it's very important for India's national interest to make sure that the relationship with Bangladesh is on even keel. It's a long border. Plus, Pakistan.
No, and everyone knows. You see, Trump knows. They tried to rig the elections against him. The deep state in America tried to rig the elections against him. So he knows that the same deep state was trying to rig the election against Modi.
They are the ones. He's turned up.
That's where the money was coming from. Sanjeev, you want to come back? Sanjeev's time to make a comeback on this if he wants to.
No,
I don't know what.
So I was only saying it's not a question of me being happy or unhappy. It's a question of interpretation. I wanted Trump to be little more strong, and I think leaving it to India was not a very fair answer. And I can also understand that he couldn't have said anything strong in public, even if he. But the thing is that the damage US did, they have to undo the damage. If they have made a mess of the situation, they need to clean up the mess also somehow. Not just leave it to India was my limited point. The other point which I just have taken a little exception to, Mr. Fawad, I don't know from where he got the idea of Chinese opposing the 7th Fleet in 1971. It is the most far-fetched and preposterous, completely preposterous. Yes, Russians were with us in 1971, but the Chinese was completely with Pakistan.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go into history. I want to look at the present. And the present is this. Now, I'll take 1 minute to analyze. 1 minute to analyze. 1 minute to analyze. When Rahul Gandhi went,
placed on the table, the Soviet Union intervened categorically. And it was the intervention of the Soviet Union with the tacit, support of the Chinese Communist Party that the 7th Fleet...
Stop getting nostalgic about Soviet Union. It's gone.
Perspective.
Oh, come on now. This is all a nostalgia session for Fuad Ali.
You cannot deny the reality of the history.
He's getting nostalgic. Bring me back the Soviet Union.
The US 7th Fleet
Bring Mao back.
Bay of Bengal.
Bring Xiaoping back.
The moment that's going to come.
Abhijit is screaming right now. Please put him on it.
He's an army rental Chinese agent.
It's not my
Shame on you. You're a pathological liar. You're a pathological liar. You're a pathological liar. Shame on you. Shame on you. Foreign stooge. Foreign agent. You should be hung for treason. You should be hung for treason. The Soviet Union stopped us for going in for the kill on the bell.
Please, no hangings going on here, please. Not even in thought.
And I have somebody
completely rented. How much will it pay you? 5 rupees from your face, not more than 5 rupees.
That the 7th Fleet ran away
Arly rental fellow.
Arly rental fellow. Globally took a position.
Arly rental.
Let's. So.
You are an Arly rental. You shouldn't even be on this panel.
Okay, now Abhijit, 1 minute. Abhijit, a minute. Abhijit, a minute. 1 minute here. 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. 1 minute. Wait a minute. Stay on there. Let me take it from here. Fuad, let me. Fuad, you're the doctor, but I'm doing the diagnosis out here. You got a problem. We got to treat this problem.
But then bribed his way to being a doctor.
No. If Trump has convinced Modi to change tariff regimes, if Trump is convinced Modi to purchase energy from USA rather than from where we are purchasing.
What are you going about Modi tariff regime? Yeah, the tariffs don't hit us. The tariff hit the country you support.
What is wrong
And the Chinese get affected by tariffs.
What is wrong with buying energy? If he's offering us a good deal, what is wrong? He's already said Modi is a better negotiator. He's a tougher negotiator. What's wrong with that? Do you have a problem? Do you have a problem? Do you hold a brief for a certain country? What is wrong
with the price of petrol and diesel rises? If India has
you should be happy about that. Why are you
negotiate where it's going to get its energy sources from? If USA is going to supply energy to India, then the price of
just 1 minute,
everything is going to rise.
So
let's be very clear.
Okay, now, what? Since you know everything about everything,
will be the major supplier of energy to
since
India.
you know everything about everything,
so India will continue with that.
I want to ask you a question based upon an encyclopedia series I used to read when I was in class 5. It was called Tell Me Why. It said lots more tell me why, still more tell me why, here's more tell me why, always again tell me why. So tell me why, ladies and gentlemen. And my tell me why question is, tell me why. Tell me why Fuad is angry. Fuad is angry because, you see, the India alliance got support from the US State Department when they carried out a disinformation campaign on CAA. 1 minute, please. 1 minute, Fuad. When I'm going to hammer you, you need to sit there and experience the whole session. You know, people really look forward to this. I'm the only person who does it on television. I announce I'm going to hammer someone and then I do it. And you should just be there squealing in delight as I hammer you. Listen to me now. Listen to me, Fuad. I'm about to start.
To look at what
Here it is.
Looking forward to.
He won't stop.
If the trade deficit is going
he's worried about I'm going to hammer him now.
India is going to end up importing more, as Trump says.
Achha, why don't you listen for a change?
Energy. We are going to have serious problems as a country. Agenda, no, but the nation needs to understand and know as to what the Prime Minister of India has committed to the President of India, and why has the President of USA, I beg your pardon, has said that India is going to purchase.
Not to the President of India. The President of India was in Bengaluru today. You mean President of US? You're getting confused.
President of US.
Now, anyway, here's the point. Viewers, I'll have to step in. Please increase my audio and please reduce Fuad's for a while. You know, what is happening to the ecosystem is they got a lot of support from the American deep state over the last few years. You know, remember Matthew Miller came to the Rahul Gandhi's support, overseas support, and he said, we don't want Modi to bring in Citizenship Amendment Act. That was direct interference. People like Fuad wanted direct interference. On violence in Manipur, you had US Ambassador Eric Garcetti, that absolute, idiot out there. He said, I want to get involved. On religious freedom, you had all these US reports saying, oh, India is as bad as Pakistan. Then people like Fuad used to celebrate every time a report on international religious freedom came in. OCCRP, Adani, Soros, all that agenda, it's going to go. Evaporate. It's gone. They don't know. They have no friends.
The funding is
That's the reason. Are you understanding? Saurabh, that's the reason for the frustration. Everything goes overnight.
The entire woke lobby is concerned because the funding has dried up. He's also talking about, what Donald Trump has said, that he's also going to investigate the kickbacks that were being given. He's been talking about, when his Doge is investigating all of these contracts.
We'll get to know who took the money.
So more skeletons will come out. And obviously the woke lobby is very concerned because they feel that the taps have dried up and no longer they will get to, go and do their champagne socialism. Thanks to this money that was coming in, which was free flowing through some of these alleged NGOs. And the other thing, let me tell you the other part of the story. What they've also discussed is that India will also investigate the linkages of some of those groups. And Trump administration has also provided assurances that we will provide.
That is the point. This is the inside story. What we've been told, the next big story in the next couple of months is going to be the names of the journalists, the names of the agencies, the names of the Mir Jafars, the names of the organizations, the nature of routing, all that sensitive information. When you had the DNI, you saw the meeting of the DNI there with Modi. You know, all that information sharing is going to happen. We're going to publish it on Republic. We'll put all the names out with our compliments. Yeah. And we want to know who the people are in India who sold out to earlier interests. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a fascinating discussion, a very, very important day. We're a strategic partner with the US, but once again, I'd say we shouldn't put all our eggs in one basket. We've got to balance things out a bit, which we did with France, which we continue to do with other countries in Southeast Asia. But the important thing, take away from me to you is we are talking like a great power, not a middle power. That's incredible. It's wonderful. It's a change in the way we look at ourselves and the way the world looks at us. I'll see you after the weekend. Good night and goodbye.
Time for a quick breather.